gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for May 30th, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Sony still wants you to buy a PlayStation 5, but it's also happy if you're still using that PS4. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa, everybody. Jan, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Got the pump on early this morning, and I'm talking about lifting weights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like intending to do that last night, but the allergies were so bad, I just went to bed instead, and that's my life right now.
You deserve that. You deserve that after purposely gassing yourself.
Yes,
creating a little lethal hot box.
It's a real toxic environment over here. Listen. The game scent, we're thinking the game scent hurt me, everybody, and caused the allergies to be real bad because both Dan and I started having sinus issues about a week after the game scent was introduced into our lives. And listen, that's really strong correlation. I'm still not sold on the causation 100%, but it is unplugged. I'm not using it anymore. I will clean it up. I don't know. I feel like if it was really happening, it's like Steph's at home all day with me. She's completely unaffected. So, will
say,
yeah,
both of you have stuck your faces directly above the game scent.
That is true.
Gotten a good whiff.
That's true.
One or several times.
The proximity could be a factor. I'm not denying that,
yes.
Jan. I just don't want to feel this way anymore. That's my big thing.
Then throw that thing in the trash or mail it to Mike Minotti.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to mail it to Mike Minotti. That's what I'm gonna have to. I actually think the plan will be I'm gonna put it in a containment zone, like a black box, and in my shed, so it's out of the house. And then the next time I am invited to Dan Reichert's house, I will smuggle it in, hide it there, make sure I connect it. I'll reset it and everything, and I will remotely control it, and I will get my revenge. Now, does that make it worse knowing what it does to people? Absolutely, but I think it has to be done.
I almost think we should sacrifice it at SGF.
That's also a good idea. Yeah,
we should Office Space that jazz.
All right, listen, Office Spacing it does sound like a very cathartic experience, so maybe we'll do that as well. Staring at it, it's making me mad. All right, yeah, how you doing, Jan? How are you holding up this week?
Shorter week here because we had Monday off, and that always it's nice to have the 3-day weekend, but it always discombobulates me for the rest of the work week.
Same.
And I'm quickly realizing we will be in LA this time next week.
Yep. By this time next week, we'll just be there. At this time in the morning, I think I'll be landing actually. So,
likewise.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, that's not a lot of time to get ready for that, but it's going to be a good time. I'm starting to, getting little pre-briefs here and there for stuff that we're going to see. And some of the games I'm seeing, I'm so excited about, Jan. Not like, these aren't like, Jeff Grubb knows about some huge thing I've been waiting my entire life for. Like a lot of new stuff. But like a couple games, I'm like, I cannot wait to play that with the guys on the site. It's going to be so much fun. So yeah, I hope we come back from SGF with like 1 million of those. That would be great.
The thing I'm most excited for is to see if Jeff Keighley has another amazing tote bag to give away to press.
Oh, of course.
Because let me tell you, that SGF tote bag from 2023 gets a lot of mileage in this household.
That's what I always say about Keighley. That bitch knows how to tote.
Yep. You see him in his kicks and like, that bitch be toting.
He's bitch toting. All right, let's explain what we do here. Wait, how do I do this? There it is. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Sony hopes to entice PC players to buy PS5 by releasing tentpole games for the console first. I'm realizing Dan got to get on the steroids. I should see if I can get that for myself. I could really use those right now, I think. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has high hopes of enticing PC players to PS5 by continuing to release its tentpole single-player games for console first. While its live service games will definitely be released simultaneously for PS5 and PC, console players will continue to receive early access to Sony's narrative-driven titles. Herman Holst and Hideaki Nishino, who will be the new joint CEOs of SIE starting on June 1st, discussed the strategy during a PlayStation business briefing on Thursday. Basically Thursday, Japan time. By delaying the PC release of sequels like Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok, Sony hopes to attract the users who have played the earlier games in those series off console to make the jump to PS5 in order to experience them sooner. Jan, this is like the strategy as we've understood it for quite some time. There's been some discussion about, does this have some wiggle room? Like, how are they going to go forward with things, especially after the success of Helldivers 2, which, as a reminder, fastest selling game this year. It's already sold 12 million copies. In fact, it's such a success that the PlayStation 5 version alone is the best selling game of the year, only behind the PC version of Helldivers 2 on its own. So it's like that much of a success. But in their opinion, they're like, okay, yeah, that's worth it for the live service games, the multiplayer games. We still want to have that gap between PlayStation 5 and PC. That still makes sense to me to a certain extent, although I feel like there is a wiggle room in their answer here as well, where it's like, hey, yeah, of course you're going to do that, but that doesn't mean the window can't get smaller, which is my expectation still. What do you think?
When you were reading the story, it seemed a little bit odd because this feels like just their general approach to the single player tentpole games that I don't know how successful it's been in like that conversion rate of like a PC player that's re-entering the Sony atmosphere because of these previous PC ports, and that whetting their appetite enough to be like, oh, okay, for the next Horizon, for the next God of War, or whatever other Sony exclusive, I'm going to have to get that PS5 so I can go play that game. I don't see that conversion rate being that high, but if that window gets smaller, I don't think that'll necessarily incentivize PC players either to go out and grab a PS5. I think what may become a stronger possibility is a possible future where there is a portable Steam Deck-esque device, PSP device, that may not be able to play your PS5 games to like its highest potential, but like a scaled down version.
Sure.
Lower price point, and that could be the thing that gets more people through the door versus like, oh, I guess I can't go play The Last of Us Part 12. Right. So I'll go get it now. Because we haven't even seen that with folks wanting to check out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth even.
Yes, correct.
And I thought that would be a needle mover.
Well, I think it's with that game, it's like the opposite, right? It's not just that people on PC aren't like going to get a PS5 to play Rebirth. People on PlayStation are waiting on Rebirth until it's like, I might wait until the whole series is out. At least that's one of the theories out there. It's like people are willing to wait for these games in a way that maybe they haven't been in the past, or maybe we weren't aware of. And I think what we're seeing is on PC, people are happy to wait. And I think that's kind of what we're going to continue to see. And so that's why I think the window gets smaller, right? Because it's like, it's not having the effect we necessarily believe it's going to have. It has some effect, some measurable impact on getting people to make sure they keep turning on their PS5s, which has a benefit to us, and then to maybe getting some people to buy a PS5. And in the meantime, there is that audience that we know is on PC that isn't going to get a PS5 almost no matter what. And we want to get to them sooner rather than later. And I think that sooner will be even sooner as we go forward.
And even in our position, multiple times whenever I see a PS5 game get announced, I'll think, oh, that'll be cool to play on PC 6 months later.
I do think that too. Yeah. Part of that is having the Steam Deck. So I think you're not wrong about the form factor. Having an alternative form factor, I think people can sort of justify that, where it's like, I'll get that PlayStation thing because it's convenient and it'll fit my life different than my PC, where the PS5 doesn't feel all that different from a PC for a lot of people. And in some ways it's like inconvenient because you're used to playing games one way, and now they want you to kind of like shift over and do it in this completely other way that is going to get you basically the same results at the end of the day. That a lot of people are not going to be willing to play ball with that.
I also wonder if, that portable aspect and ease of access to play your games, not anywhere, but in different parts of your house has contributed to the surprise hit of PlayStation Portal at all. If because of devices like the Nintendo Switch, Asus Roger, and the Steam Deck, if that has kind of like reintroduced the handheld form factor to a lot of gamers to be like, oh, I really enjoy this. I want to do this more often. Also, I wonder if like for some PC players or your normal general gaming audience, if a PS5 or a console is really just exclusively tied to your living room versus like our broken systems here where it's like all daisy chained together in an office.
Yep. Yeah, true. And like everyone's going to be different and have different scenarios and stuff like that. And various people are going to have differing levels of comfort with, connecting a PC to a TV and using it that way. And that stuff could change over the time a little bit here and there, but I think the fundamental blockers here are still just the same as they've ever been, which is people choose something, they get used to it, and then it's very hard to get them to change. And if you want their money at a certain point, and it feels like that point is just where these companies are at right now. And we can talk a little bit more about that here in a second, but it's like, where these companies are at right now is trying to get you to change so we can like maximize the money we're getting from you is not maybe worth it as much as us going to where you're at and just being more convenient to you, so you're more willing to give us a smaller amount of money. It's not that much smaller either. And especially it's like, God of War Ragnarok's going to come out, probably do very well. But that's probably going to get announced for PC here very soon. And it'll be very popular. You got to think though, it's like, man, if it was even just like 6 months after the initial release, where it could still like ride that wave of game of the year talk, marketing, it feels like all that stuff would work even better. I don't know. You think so?
Oh, 100%. And I feel like, especially with the stuff they've added into Valhalla, it kind of feels like that any type of marketing almost came and went. I to pay prices and have means to block a bunch of ads, Grubb. So I'm missing any potential TV commercials or whatever, like YouTube ads pop up. But it did feel like it was a big release when it came out because there was a surprise drop. And then it kind of went nowhere afterwards. And there was still a little bit of hype after Valhalla. But I think if they had sustained that little bit of hype 3 months, maybe 6 months later, and released it for PC, it could have maintained like a steady climb versus it feeling like a definite dip in interest that we have now. It feels weird that I want them to just do day and date on PC also. Because it feels like they're not really competing with Microsoft in terms of consoles anymore. It's just now just software.
And Jan, this is exactly the point I wanted to get to. So let's go to this next story here and we'll talk about that. Sony says PS4 remains an important part of our business with 50% of users. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has said its last gen PlayStation 4 console is still an important part of its business, nearly 4 years into its successor's lifespan. During Sony's business segment meeting on Wednesday, SIE's new co-CEOs shared an update on the PlayStation business and its strategies for the future. Hideaki Nishino, who will start his new role as CEO of SIE's platform business group this weekend, said that PS5 is PlayStation's most profitable generation to date, with operation income close to eclipsing all others combined. So very close to what Nintendo's done. However, he revealed that PlayStation 4 still makes up exactly half of its monthly active console users at 49 million. As you can see, the PlayStation 5 user base has continued to grow significantly, driving half of our monthly active consoles, Nishino said during a web call. While the PlayStation 4 is still an important part of our business, our PlayStation 5 players are even more engaged than in our previous generation, and we expect these trends to continue. Jan, they're not competing with Microsoft anymore. They're competing with themselves. Oh. They're competing with entropy and sort of people coasting and momentum, where it's like, hey, we just want to keep using our PS4 because it does everything we want. This is where I watch Netflix. This is where I watch Amazon Prime Video. And then when I want to play a game, it's already on because I was just watching Netflix. So I'm just going to get the game here, and that game is probably going to run just fine, in my opinion, as someone who's maybe a little bit more casual. I believe him when he says the people on PS5 are more engaged. Of course, the people who would move on would be the ones who are the most dedicated to gaming and want to make sure they're getting the most out of it. Absolutely. It is strange to me to a point to see that thing about, okay, hey, the PS5 generation has made almost more profit than all of our generations combined before. And yet, at the same time, there is still this sense from PlayStation that there is some concern about the future. About like, hey, yeah, the PS5 sales are going to start trending downward, and we're going to have to start making more money by making some changes. But when you like look at it once again from like the way investors look at it, which is unfortunately what's going to fuel this entire thing, it is they look at like, okay, what's it going to do 3, 4, or 5 years from now? That growth needs to be obvious to us, or else we're going to freak out and pull our investment and go invest somewhere else. And it's like this business is so successful for Sony. It has done, they've done everything right, and yet it's still not enough, which I think brings us back to the conversation we've been having for the last couple of months, Jan. It just feels like these big corporations are in a place where they aren't the ideal like delivery mechanism for cool, new, interesting games.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that thought, because I will more often than not lately, my appetite skews towards like indie experiences, indie games, just because it is offering something radically different than what we've been force-fed or presented from these big consoles. And it's I think part of the problem is the continued support for PS4, because they don't want to alienate that audience. Initial supply constraints and how hard it was to get a PS5 when it launched, and also the habits that gamers have formed, in that a PS4 is completely fine to do everything that they go to that console for. You can still play Call of Duty, you can still play Fortnite or FIFA or Madden, and like the demands of those games haven't been challenging, where it's going to like eventually create a bottleneck where that PS4, it feels like it's chugging on its last life. And at the same time, like if you get a PS5, you're either have forgotten about it or you're trying to get everything out of it at this point. And I think it's become a problem of the industry as a whole, that Sony is just not satisfied with where they're currently at. But also, I don't immediately see a solution to convert those PS4 players either, because as you said, habits have formed. It's not just the Call of Duty machine. It's not just the Fortnite machine. Folks go there as their Blu-ray player even, or as their streaming box, versus going, getting like an Apple TV or whatever. If they go to their PS4 just for Netflix or Hulu or whatever, that habit has formed for a lot of folks. I've been at several Airbnbs, Grubb, where their media player is just a PS4.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of became the default for, I mean, that's happened to a lot of PlayStation consoles. Yeah. And when we've sort of hit a wall of reasons to upgrade the device because of other mediums like, you know, DVD and then Blu-ray and streaming, it's like, people are pretty happy with the way these things work, even though, you know, PS4's interface could be lacking sometimes, and the fact that you're loading stuff off a hard drive is a pain. But people are like, yeah, I'm used to it. It works. And spending money is actually a much bigger pain. I did watch like a video, like from like, I was like kind of curious about like the way investors think. And I was watching the video, and it's like, they very plainly all say that they have their formulas, and their formulas do not care about profit. They don't care about like what you've done in the past. It is all based on, and it's true, I guess, across the board for most professional investors, that they're looking for the rate of growth, and that is it. So if you are a company like PlayStation that has had this recent spat of amazing profits, and when I say like they did everything right, it's like they solved their biggest problems, which was they would have a generation gap. And then in that generation gap, from like going from 3 to 4, from going from 3 to 4, 2 to 3, they would have massive losses because the research and development was so expensive, the marketing was so expensive, and then they would be selling games to a smaller audience for several years. And it's like, well, then they shifted to services and subscriptions and live service games, and that completely fixed that problem to the point where now they have had steady profits throughout the PS4 to PS5 generation. It's like, it feels like that's the kind of thing that if the system were working properly, that would be rewarded. It's like, okay, you had an issue with not making as much money, you've figured it out, and now this is a solid business that is going to generate a ton of profits going forward that we can rely on and expect. And it's yeah, but the PS5 is going to like not sell quite as many units next year as it did last year. It's like, yeah, but that there will still be more PS5s out there than there were before. How is that not good enough? And it's just, it turns out, once again, the whole system is broken and it does not serve exactly what we were expecting. I think there was a time in the 90s and early 2000s where these factors didn't matter so much because the technology was progressing so fast that it the next growth spurt was always right around the corner. And so like you could like ignore these factors. And now it's like, again, we don't know where the growth is going to come from. So these companies are always freaking out. That said, it's just a bigger problem because games are so expensive to make. That's maybe the biggest thing that they need to actually figure out. So they did everything right. Maybe that's the next problem they're going to solve, and maybe they have some ideas for that.
Yeah, hearing about that, Grubb, definitely puts into context as to why Sony had put out that future of PlayStation trailer that we chatted about last week, where none of the stuff seemed like reasonable or like anything to expect in the near future. Real. It's like, hey, investors, what if we played games everywhere?
Yep.
Instead of realizing the reality that we do play games everywhere.
Right. Yeah. They had to dress it up as making it look something so futuristic that it's like, wow, that's going to change everything, and not realizing that we're already there. You're right. Yeah. It's all kind of a fugazi. Yeah. All right, let's move on to this next story. PlayStation boss very excited about upcoming mobile games. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has provided an update on the status of its mobile game division. Over the past few years, the company has successfully expanded its business to incorporate PC games, but its ambition to do likewise on mobile has yet to bear fruit in terms of actual product releases. During that time, Sony has quietly been building a team of experienced mobile talent, hiring people from Apple, Kabam, Meta, Tencent, Super Evil Megacorp, Samsung, Niantic, Zynga, Riot, and more. And according to an active job listing, the company is looking to create a new platform focused on free-to-play mobile games. However, last year, its mobile division lost two top executives weeks apart, Mikhail Katkov, who worked at Rovio and Zynga, and Nicola Sebastiani, who previously led Apple Arcade. PlayStation boss Herman Holst, who will become joint CEO of SIE on June 1st, discussed the company's progress on the mobile games front during a business briefing on Thursday. On mobile, we have been hard at work on establishing a very strong, very seasoned core mobile team, he said. We are really excited to extend our experiences to new audiences in the mobile space as well. We're taking a little bit more of a measured approach compared to the more aggressive approach that you've seen on PC. That is because PC is obviously more adjacent to the core audience that we've been developing. Blah, blah, blah. This feels like we're working on it. Check back in on it. And of course, I'm very excited, but we'll let you know what's happening in the mobile space. This is a space that if you're in gaming, you can't ignore. Like Sony can't ignore that. This is why they've made these investments. But the story is right to point out that there's been some like stutters along the way. And now they seem to be kind of back where they started, where they made some investments, those didn't pay off, and some key people left, and now they're kind of starting from zero again. At least that's the sense I get. But they are promising games are coming. Do you believe that this is really going to be a big part of Sony's gaming strategy going forward?
I see it probably being a more focused and sustained effort than Apple Arcade, where Apple Arcade is kind of silently still growing and happening. There are interesting titles popping out on there, maybe not all the time anymore, but every other week, every other month. And I could see Sony having that shotgun approach now of like, all right, we're going to get you on a console. We're still hitting you on your PS4 if you only have that. We're eventually going to get to the PC because that works in tandem with what we're already doing, but let's also get them on their phones. Killzone Mobile. You heard it here, first, folks, y'all.
Herman Hulse is going to do another Horizon, like another 5 Horizon games for you on mobile.
Oh, no.
There's like a 0% chance that there's just like some Horizon card game for mobile in the works.
Okay, well, maybe
there you
we
go.
can talk. Maybe we can talk. If they want to do a mobile game, Grubb, maybe perhaps they just do a crossword puzzle, because that's what I go to my phone every morning and every evening for.
Hell yeah, Puzzmo. I'm a big fan of that.
I'd be interested to see what they got going on, and like if they want to like continue to innovate in that specific market or continue the growing trends. Like, I don't see Sony putting together a gacha style game yet.
I mean, it feels very similar to kind of where Nintendo was a couple years ago, maybe more than that, where it's like, not that Nintendo's figured out mobile. They've had some hits, but like Mario wasn't much of a thing at the end of the day. I think Fire Emblem Heroes is still going. They tried that new the new game that they made with their partners in mobile that I can't remember the name of. I want to say .emu, but that's not right. But whatever. So some dragon game that was a gacha, and in the Animal Crossing, the mobile game, and Mitomo, those social service. Most of these things have been like, they're okay, but if you want the real Animal Crossing that made the real money, that happened on Switch still. So that's where Nintendo's at. And yet Nintendo does feel like it's had more figured out on mobile than Sony has. So it's like, okay, the approach that Sony needs to take, you're right. They're probably still at this crossroads where it is, do we go in the direction of trying to do gacha, trying to make something that's very mobile, or do we try to translate the PlayStation experience to phone? And it's a very tough thing to do because, that's your strength. But at the same time, gacha is the thing that people, or gacha like ideas, mobile gaming like ideas is what people expect and what works well in that business model. But it's not like that is some cheat code either, because you're still going to probably hit a wall of, there are other games people are already playing, and yours isn't that much better than theirs. And honestly, you don't have the institutional knowledge to be able to use the dark patterns and manipulate people on mobile phone to get the most out of them anyhow. So you're probably going to hit that wall just as well if you were to try to make a game like they do. So yeah, I don't think that Sony's going to have an easy road to hoe here, but I get why they have to try. And this is something they need to be telling investors, because this is an area where if they do get something, it is a space where they can grow that they haven't had any growth before. So it's fertile ground at the very least.
You could totally port over or create a smaller scaled back Ratchet and Clank experience on mobile at this point. Maybe do some of the classic PlayStation games on there, PS1 games over on mobile, create those, port those over, make a new type of experience. Cookies and cream, Grubb. What about cookies and cream, huh?
There it is. Yeah, I should have thought about that.
I will admit, when I was first reading through this story, and I saw mobile games, my heart fluttered that, we are going to get a PSP. And then I realized, mobile equals phone.
Yeah, mobile equals phone these days. Yeah, that happened some time ago. I know what you mean, though. There was a time where it was like, there would be like best mobile game award for Game of the Year award stuff, and it would be referring to the Game Boy. But that was a very different time. I get it. I get why they have to say this, but I do feel like part of this is like, hey, him saying, let me conclude by saying that we're very excited about upcoming title releases that we can communicate in the future. That is very much just biding time, because, like I've said this on a recent show, those people leaving does sound like it was more tumultuous than they're letting on. Does sound like there was some significant issues. This was alleged to me, alleged. Always say that's the magic word. It was alleged to me that there was some toxicity at these companies from people potentially in leadership. And when that sort of brings the whole thing down, it's hard to build it back up. You kind of have to start fresh again. So that's why I get the sense that they are starting fresh again. And who knows how long that actually ends up taking. But I don't think that means they're abandoning mobile. They'll do something in that space.
Also, Grubb, I feel like part of the problem with maybe some mobile experiences, maybe Apple Arcade per se, and why it hasn't completely taken off, is because those are full ass style games when people are coming to mobile for like a quick fix, like a crossword puzzle, round of COD Mobile or whatever MOBA style game is like popping off at the minute.
And Apple Arcade even like has the advantage of, I have that on my MacBook Air that I got recently. That's how I would play those games. And it's like, that's a computer. I could just plug a controller into that thing and or connect a Bluetooth controller and just go to town and play those games the way God intended. And even that, it's like, people don't think of it that way. They're looking for the mobile game experience for the most part. That said, Apple Arcades, I was pretty impressed by it. It's not like a first to mind thing. It's not like when I wake up, I think about games, and Apple Arcade does not occur to me very frequently. I'll say that said, when I do like trawl those halls for games, it's like, there's some interesting stuff in here.
Yeah,
I still want to play that Hello Kitty game. We'll see.
Do you think of Daikatana before you think of Apple Arcade?
I do, unfortunately, think of Daikatana before I think of most things. It goes, children, gotta get them to school, I gotta go pee, I should eat, Daikatana, in that order.
The Holy Trinity.
All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick break for our commercial sponsors. We'll get to more headlines right after this. Let's get back into it with Hollywood news. There's a Minecraft TV show coming to Netflix. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. In addition to the upcoming Minecraft movie, a Minecraft TV show is in the works. Microsoft and Netflix have announced a partnership to bring Minecraft to TV in the form of an animated show. Not much is known about the Minecraft series, but it will tell an original story with new characters showing the world of Minecraft in a new light. This makes some sense to me. I feel like people will go, well, it makes a ton of sense. A show, kids could watch that. I've had an epiphany recently about this, Jan. They don't care. What where there's a million hours of Minecraft or Minecraft-like content that they can go watch and they don't care about the quality? It's called YouTube. And there are people making endless amounts of stuff related to the things that they're interested in. Like my kid super got they're into Mario and Inside Out right now. And she just will I'm going to type Inside Out into YouTube, and there will be YouTube shorts of people explaining what's going on in the movies. There will be people telling new stories with the characters using plushies. And it's it's all relatively low quality to what you would expect from a Netflix show. But they don't care. They're watching it and they're into it. And to them, this is their entertainment. And I'm like, I kind of get it. I think if I was a kid, I would have felt the same way, where it's like people talking about the stuff I like. It's all right here. I can watch that. So it's like when I see stuff like this these days, Jan, I get a little bit more skeptical about who is this for? Are you going to make this Minecraft TV show for kids, or is it for already converted fans? And then maybe it can pop off. I say all that Cuphead show, my kids watch that, and that's still their only interaction with Cuphead, because I won't let them play that after what happened to Dean, of course. I don't know. Are you? Yeah, just shout outs to Dean. Are you excited about a Minecraft TV show?
No. I don't think I'm the target audience, despite really enjoying playing Minecraft. And now that you mentioned the kind of YouTube barrage of content and consuming related content, I don't immediately see who this is for, other than just putting this on in the background. And because kids are familiar with Minecraft, want to consume more Minecraft, here's a little bit a higher production of Minecraft. If you go through Disney Plus and some of these other streamers, primarily Disney Plus, you will see so many different Lego specials, Grubb, of Star Wars, of Marvel related things. And they're all actually pretty funny and pretty decent and entertaining. But I do see it being okay, y'all are trying to get the kids back in, because they're familiar with the Lego games, they're familiar with Marvel or Star Wars, and this is a melding of both, and we can get them locked into this platform. Because you're a father, Grubb. I have several friends that say the Disney Plus only ever plays Bluey.
Yes. The Disney Channel, yes. The Disney, yes. It's Bluey, and then the Spider-Man cartoon that ripped off PJ Masks. Yes.
Yes. And I guess this is a similar thing where Sony sees the people on PS4 still part of their major audience. if Netflix sees you're watching the Minecraft show repeatedly, we got you in there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how much effort they should put into this even.
Right. It's exactly. Yeah, it is. It's a question mark. And I think that's where it goes back to, like, I think decide early on that like who this show is for. And I think go after the fans that have been playing the game for several years and have like sort of not aged out of, but have like consumed a significant amount of content from about Minecraft from YouTube or Twitch or whatever up to this point. So they are kind of like, I've had that experience. Maybe what would it be like to get a very well produced, well written show that has strong characters, that has continuity and all this stuff? Maybe that's what I'm looking for now. And so I think make it for that audience, scope it for that audience, and I think you could probably have something that's going to be just fine and makes a lot of sense. And at the same time, I was going to say there's a chance this doesn't actually get made. Feels like the Netflix shows usually do end up coming out.
Yeah. I almost think that the kids have already rediscovered machinima and everything, and bobbing character heads to properly animated stuff. I feel like Red versus Blue, that Rooster Teeth joint, could have had like a new life, perhaps in like this TikTok age. I almost feel like Grubb, here's what we do. We make our own Minecraft show on TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's how we just blow up there. And then just imagine like, oh, hey, it's me, Mr. Creeper. And look at this new, check out my TikTok shop for this tripod.
The kids will buy anything from Mr. Creeper. That's what I found. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, Grubb. We're going to delete this part of the podcast.
Okay. Yep. Trademark. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Nikki got the those lav mics that I influenced people on. And they canceled their order and they still sent it anyhow. So it's a deal right there. I hope I didn't put them on blast. I don't think TikTok is listening. I think we're going to be okay. All right, let's stick with the Hollywood news. Universal Pictures is making a Just Cause movie. This is from Jonas Mackey at Game Reactor. Where movie adaptations of video games used to be something we often scoffed at because of their poor quality, the situation today is completely different. There are plenty of great series being produced, including The Last of Us, Fallout, and Castlevania. And the Super Mario Brothers movie was a huge hit. As a result, Hollywood is desperately looking for games to be filmed, and the next project confirmed to be in the pipeline is Just Cause. The film is based on Swedish developer Avalanche Studios' action-packed game series, and it will be Universal Pictures that has the honor of landing the venture. The director's already been confirmed, and it will be Blue Beetle creator Angel Manuel Soto, who leads the film adaptation, and otherwise details are scarce. Yeah. Is this a step up or down from Blue Beetle?
I like this director. And Blue Beetle wasn't the best, but it was okay in bits. I also really like the kid in that from Cobra Kai.
Sorry, let me put up the Blue Beetle celebration scene. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. Yay.
This could be interesting. I think it may be on par, if not a little bit better, than the Uncharted movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like it feels a little bit like an open canvas to some extent, where it's like, well, it could just be an action movie, and then you could have like some elements of the game and make it fantastical. So it is like, the character is using a parachute to like fly around and stuff like that. Whatever. I think if they like lean into that, it could be a lot of fun, which is kind of all I would want from if someone's like, we're gonna go see the Just Cause movie. My one hope would be it better be fun. I don't care if it's like moving or emotional or tells a good story, even just be fun. And I think if you go in there with your sights set on that, they could probably do something pretty decent.
I just ask that there's like parachutes and grappling hooks out the wazoo.
I think you would have. I think you'd have to.
I love Pedro Pascal, but please stay away from this one.
Yeah, Pedro, you need to just take a break. Take a vacation, my guy.
Yeah. I love you though.
Yeah, just that's how much we love you. We want you to just go have some time, be under your own grapefruit tree and vine. What do they say in that Hamilton song? I think that's what they say.
No, yeah, that's what they say. Grapefruit tree and vine.
Yeah. Hey, good luck. This one, strong chance it never comes out.
I feel like it could come out.
It could, but this is the one that's like in that zone of
sure. Like how long did we hear about an Uncharted movie and like the rumblings for it? Like I feel like Dan Trachtenberg was attached to that for a little bit, even.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Also at the same time, Grubb, I feel like there's such an appetite for like video game related movies, and that being like we're in a new heyday of
definitely.
that being some type of maybe not cash cow, but hype generator. This could happen, and especially if it's like a mindless action flick. This could, Grubb, what if this becomes the what is the Netflix Chris Hemsworth series that you enjoy?
Yes.
What if this is an Extraction like?
That would be exactly what I would want from that. Like, just
there we go.
Make it so nonstop and intense that you kind of like can't help but laugh at it because it's so absurd.
Well, you know what? Throw Oscar Isaac in it.
That'd be good. That's good.
Yeah.
He could be the two most iconic video game characters, because apparently he was going to be casted as a Solid Snake, and also Just Cosman, which I think is the character's name.
Rico
Just Cosman. There
we go.
That's got to be it.
You know what? Just make it Andy Samberg.
Yeah, okay, I'm down now. Just Cause feels like in a different era would have been the kind of game that UV Bowl would have got his hands on and made a movie about. It really feels that way.
Oh no, don't say that, Griff.
That's just that. Hey, listen, we've escaped his clutches. I think we're safe.
Rip, right?
Did he die? I don't know. Is UV Bowl dead?
He's not dead.
Okay, all right. Shrew. Why? I don't care. You know what? Dead or alive? I don't care. Sorry, UV Bowl. Baldur's Gate 3 CEO blames COVID for turning Forgotten Realms into a quote horny place. This is from Rachel Fidus at DualShockers. Baldur's Gate 3 is jam-packed full of exciting adventures, a diverse ragtag group of misfit heroes, and hours of turn-based combat that keeps D&D fans firmly glued to their seats. Even though that's usually enough to keep players happy for days on end, and prolonged episodes of touching any grass, there is one key element in Baldur's Gate 3 that draws a different crowd, and that's, of course, its rampant horniness. Whether you want to romance Karlach, Astarion, or Shadowheart, that's completely up to you, but Larian Studios director has an idea about why Baldur's Gate 3's Forgotten Realms is such a frisky game, and he thinks it's all down to COVID. In an interview with Game Pressure, which sounds like a horny website, I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
The developers from Larian Studios, as well as its CEO, Sven Vink, popped in for a chat about Baldur's Gate 3, where everything from Monty Python, the difficulties from Lockdown, to Baldur's Gate 3's script, and how it kept its identity was discussed. In between all of these important topics, the question naturally arose about the game's raunchiness and why the team thought it became one of the horniest games around. COVID, replied Vinke, maybe semi-jokingly, but he probably does have a point here. As we all know, throughout the lockdown period, many people were unable to be with family and friends, losing out on vital human connections. And for many of us, being homebound meant powering up our PCs or consoles. In the period since, many players still seek out that bond. Vinke echoes this by saying that he believes that people get so engaged in companionship and that it's a testament to the work of the team that's been doing it. They want to romance them. I get what they're going for here, Jan. I think this is just the human condition. This is just human nature. That desire for companionship is just, it goes back a long way before COVID. And I think this game is just good at expressing that. That's all.
100%. I don't think this game is horny because of COVID. I think it was always destined to be horny.
Right. It's fate from the very beginning of time.
Mass Effect was never influenced by anything, right?
I've seen the internet. There's a lot of stuff about Mass Effect on there.
Hey, let me tell you some popular searches on a certain website. Overwatch is at the top of those all the time.
That's right.
It is not related to any global disease.
No.
Yeah, I think it's just the human condition, Grubb. Also, I guess if anything, what COVID plays into that is the feeling of isolation. So when you are embarking on a game where the relationships are super duper important, and like you have very well written characters, people are definitely going to flock to that and put more weight onto that. But I see similar things happening with like Persona games, even Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where people were like flocking to, well, people are flocking to Tifa for various reasons, but those various party members as well.
Yeah.
And you know, similar experiences to how I felt about Infinite Wealth, where it's like, oh, I love this cast of dumbasses.
Right.
I identify with them.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's like COVID maybe amplified things or made people like realize how important the like having a safe place to play around with those emotions is. And this game definitely provides that, and then probably capitalized on it to a certain extent. Yeah.
And I wonder, because of like how it was framed as a AAA title, because like, you know, these experiences where like people do explore different varieties of like the human experience and human emotions exists so well in the indie space. If folks that don't necessarily have the means to check out that those types of indie games, because visibility is very, very difficult for that. If Baldur's Gate 3 was like, type of deal, and also tapping into the Mike Minotti mentality of I can fix her.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. Yeah, I think it's there was definitely some like perfect storm stuff happening where I think a certain audience of like sex positive people had grown loud enough that it's like, yeah, like why wouldn't you be able to fuck the bear? Like the bear has needs. And then the game was like,
I have needs.
Yeah, exactly, and it's bears. And there's like this game had a blaring sign before it came out of "You can fuck the bear," and everyone's like, one, that's funny, and two, that like is indicative, I think, of an emphasis on indicative. There you go, everybody. The emphasis is like, hey, you have a possibility space to do what you want in this game, and we're going to accommodate that. And yeah, I think that it really was able to again capitalize on that. A lot of D&D games. It's my understanding. I've never done tabletop role playing. They can drift into horniness pretty quickly. So this game sort of being there to catch that audience, it felt like it was always destined to do this.
I feel like the COVID factor isn't necessarily just isolated to like the horniness of the game or the relationships,
all
but
the
that free flowing. Oh yeah, exactly. The free flowing ability to make numerous decisions and play the game how you want, especially after like, you know, being regimented for most people to live a certain way because of living through the pandemic. So, you know, a lot of these folks will be like, you know what, I will do whatever I want. I will seek a romantic relationship with this bear and immediately get mauled by that bear instead. Exactly.
I do think, for everything we've said here, there is a little bit of toothpaste out of the tube where you can never, if you're making a game, you can never again be like, well, you know, we can't represent sex in that way. And it's like, well, Baldur's Gate 3 did it. And look at it's very popular and won Game of the Year awards. So I think going forward, the industry will kind of be changed to a certain extent. That doesn't mean like every game's going to try to do what Baldur's Gate 3 did. I think most companies will be way too afraid. Nor should they. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I do think it will open up the opportunity for more games to have a more mature approach to these things going forward, and that's something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, like I don't see adding sex to Starfield saving Starfield for me personally.
No, definitely. I mean, had I cared more about the characters, that would have been good for that game for sure. But,
yeah. That's I don't remember anyone's name, Grubb.
There was that cowboy that had the kid. Oh well. Harvest Moon Home Sweet Home announced for iOS and Android. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Natsume has announced a farming simulation game Harvest Moon Home Sweet Home is coming to iOS and Android. Listen, look, I was trying to say Harvest Home and it came out. Oh boy. It's coming out in August. They said they are excited to bring a fresh new Harvest Moon experience back to mobile gamers with Harvest Moon Home Sweet Home. Hey, Harvest Moon used to be a really big franchise, and now everyone would just play Stardew Valley instead. I guess I'm glad that they're still doing stuff with it, but it feels like, man, could you just put like this on Switch as well, or instead? I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever try to play Harvest Moon again. I would just play Stardew Valley instead. So I guess maybe they're right to like go for this different audience in the first place. Do you have any affinity for Harvest Moon?
negative. Other than it knowing that it has like an adorable cow in the game.
Yes.
But if I were to seek out a farming game, first I would re-download Disney Dreamlight Valley, and then just check up on my crops there. But then I'd eventually, if I were to like go whole hog and play a farming style game, I would want to finally try and pick up Stardew Valley for the first time.
It's great. It's got a multiplayer mode.
And yeah, and I feel like that's just the move for a lot of folks at this point. And even your casual gamer that may have like lapsed outside of Animal Crossing, a lot of them will hear in their little circles will hear of just embarking onto Stardew Valley or going all the way into Sims.
Yeah, and Stardew Valley is on mobile as well. So it's like, yeah.
The Sims is like creating it's always had a very weird subculture and subscene, but like even more so, I feel like that scene is getting louder.
Yes, yeah, it's like it's growing in terms of its ability to like amplify and get its sound out to other people. You think Sims goes mobile for Sims 5? Like I think like Sims 5 on PC, console, and mobile doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. I feel like that would translate very well to like an iPad.
Yeah. There's no reason it wouldn't be able to run on there. Yeah.
Oh my God! Just create daily quests for your Sims and stuff. We're gonna cut this out of the program as well. TM.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a mobile Sims already, but I don't think it's not just Sims 4. I don't think so.
Stardew is also on Apple Arcade.
You're right. Yes. Yeah. Totally. That makes sense. I did try playing it when it first came to Android. I played it a little bit. It's good. It works. All right, last story here. Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Mess has begun. It begins today with the PlayStation State of Play at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. I believe that Marino has the full like chart of when all these things are happening. I'll put that up on screen here in a second if I can find it. But yeah, that's going to be 30 minutes, 14 games. And then following that at 7 p.m., there's the Konami Silent Hill transmission, updates on Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill F, which is like the new entry in the series, and then Silent Hill Townfall, which is like an offshoot that they're doing with Annapurna and that developer No Code. So hey, events are starting now. Jan, are you hype?
Yeah.
Jan, can I ask you a question that's unrelated to everything I just said? And I was about to say the word, but I don't know what it means. What's hyphy?
Oh, hyphy is a state of mind. It's a way of being, Grubb.
Okay.
It's like an energy. It's like mana that you tap into.
Okay.
Hyphy music. Also, hyphy is like a subgenre of music, hip hop music from the Bay Area. And it's just like, you activated a switch in me, and I was about to like actively start like code switching and like start introducing other vernacular into the market. Hey,
you know what? You cool off. You cool off. All right. You take it easy.
Sorry. I was about to start turfing.
Okay, all right. Listen, not on this show.
We're about to start going dummy.
Oh no,
Grubb. I feel like you'd have a good fizz face and everything.
All right, yeah.
Folks at home, ghost ride the whip, baby. Ghost ride the whip.
They didn't have these things in Ohio, so yeah.
God, you want to talk about confusing someone with words coming out of my mouth? Me going to Lexi and telling her all of the Bay Area vernacular and just saying it shoot stone cold face, it'd just be like, what are you saying?
Yeah, I would imagine.
A fun cultural exchange would be putting Lexi in a room with Michael Hyman and I talking to each other.
I would very much like to see that. That would be very good. We can make that happen. Yeah, I would love that. All right. Summer Game Mess upon us. PlayStation State of Play. We'll talk over that one, everybody. So we'll probably do voicemail dump truck, take a small little break, and then we'll talk over the State of Play. Expectations are, I think, in check there. You got any like last minute hopes for that one?
I'd really like to see more Astrobot stuff.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty likely. I think we'll be good with that.
Maybe they have opened up PSVR 2 enough that like, hey, maybe we'll see a Half-Life Alyx. I highly doubt it. I think what we will see though is somehow more Horizon.
Yeah, that Lego Horizon game hangs over us like a sword of Damocles, and yeah, it's frightening. I don't think we're gonna be able to escape it. Have you thought about that game at all anymore? Does it make any more sense to you than when we first like mentioned it?
Lego Horizon.
Lego Horizon, yeah.
I think like they have a couple of at least one Lego set, and I feel like because of the look of the robotic dinosaurs and other animals, that could be fun in a Lego environment. I just don't feel myself clamoring to that. I kind of feel like how people felt when Green Day Rock Band came out, of like, oh, cool, you got a rock band of this one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. But for folks that are fans of Green Day, like fans of Horizon,
right,
it means the world to you.
They're eating. Yeah, they're feasting. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah,
Green Day, Horizon, 1-1, baby.
That's maybe one of the best like points of reference you've ever made, Jan. I fully understand what you're getting across there now. Yeah, same thing. Horizon is the Green Day of video games. All right, here's the chart, everybody. If you have your time zone, if you're in New Delhi, for example, the state of play is going to start at 3:30 a.m. Time zones that have the half an hour thing, messed up. That's so weird. Ugh. Don't do that. I know you got big countries, but weird. All right. Now I'm getting yelled at. No, it is not the Green Day of video games. Disagree. I disagree. All right. Let's get the poll question up. That's right here. I'm going to hit that. We'll refresh to see what the results are. Are you excited about the PlayStation State of Play? 50% said yes. 50% said no after 3,000 votes.
Wow.
People don't trust state of plays anymore, Jan.
Yeah, I think I'm with a lot of people of thinking, well, all right, I guess we'll see what we got this year. I'm always ready to be surprised, and I'm always ready to be wrong, but I just don't feel a lot of excitement.
Yeah, it's like, I think I know what state of plays are at this point, and we've talked about this on the show before, when like we would have the state of play come, and then we'd have the roundup, and people were disappointed. We'd always point out that these things feel like contractual obligations, almost certainly because that's what they are, where Sony gets these co-marketing deals, and part of the like, hey, we're going to give you so much money worth of marketing. The way they account for some of that is we'll put you in a state of play, which is worth this much money. And so that's why some games show up in there that you're like not excited about, but it's like, nope, Sony owed a deal to these people, so they had to do it. And the whole thing ends up feeling like an obligation, which kind of takes the air out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo does the directs that way, which is maybe why they feel different.
Oh, 100%. Hard agree, Grubb. What do you think are the odds that we see some type of MiHoYo game in this?
Right, not Zero. Honestly, Zenless Zone Zero, is that the next one?
Yeah. That's on the horizon.
Honestly, probably going to be there.
And when that does Horizon?
Make a lot of money, so why wouldn't?
No, totally, 100%. And like they shelling out the money to show up in a state of play is chump change in terms of like what they're making on a daily.
Right, and those games are so big. Maybe they don't even have to pay. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. So it's hard to tell.
One of my best buddies, his PS4, because he hasn't upgraded yet. That's just his Genshin machine now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I still never played Genshin. July 4th is when Zenless Zone Zero launches. I'm going to celebrate this nation the way the founding fathers intended, with waifus. I'm just assuming there's waifus in this game. I think that's a safe assumption to make.
I think it's a safe assumption as well, if it is a MiHoYo joint.
All right. We got a new poll question. We'll get to that in a second. In the meantime, Jan, what do we have happening on this dang darn website?
We have voicemail dump truck popping off later today, and then after that, we will be talking over the state of play. I believe it will be yourself, Bacalar, Dan, and me. Maybe we'll have some other hooligans in there tomorrow. Another episode of Game Mess Mornings, as well as UPF. Maybe just be a good old grab bag of things, and yeah, and we're folks. We are so close to the finish line for SGF until we actually start that race. BCR, it's planned, but again, folks, the card is subject to change.
Yeah, we are. We're at the whims and mercies of fate and time and meetings, mostly meetings.
Yes,
there's a lot to figure out still. So yes.
Poor Bacalar working on East Coast time with a lot of West Coasters. I feel so bad for Bacalar. Everyone give a shout out to Jerf next time you see him on something, because the man is working tirelessly, just like this Jeff as well. round the clock.
We're gonna make it happen, though, everybody. We'll let you know about BCR and all that stuff. In the meantime, here is a poll question: how often do you turn on your PS4 for any reason? Daily, weekly, monthly, or I do not use my PS4 anymore. It's actually, I stopped using my PS4. Yeah, that works. That poll question will be up on the community tab on youtube.com/@giantbomb. You could vote in that. We'll discuss the results on Game Mess Mornings on Giant Bomb tomorrow. Once again, speaking of Giant Bomb, tune in today for Voicemail Dump Truck, and then we'll go right into the State of Play talkover. I'm looking forward to it. At the very least, if they announce a new Astro, I'm going to be excited kind of no matter what. I said they're better that. Please put those speedrun things in there, because that's really what I played. Please know that. Like, look at me, Herman Holst. Please do it. Don't let it come out without more speedrun stuff. I need it. I'm addicted. All right. Jan, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my favorite way to start a Thursday. I hope everyone out there is gigging after this, baby.
Oh, no. I really did activate him. Thank you all for watching. I can't tell if you're mad because you don't like that I compared Green Day to Horizon or Horizon to Green Day. We'll figure that all out next time. Until then, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. Best audience of gaming.
Oh, God. I can't stop now.